Put your shoes on, we got a long walk home. And grab your pitchfork and your torch, it's a long dark road. And if you stay close to me, we'll make it through the night. You know the monsters come out when they see the street lights.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to an all-new episode of Everyday Voices of the Paranormal, EVP. I am Rev Jamie McCaskill.
And I am John Campbell.
Now John, before we get this one rolling, because this one's going to be on night, this is going to be if you've seen the picture, you already know it's about the Backrooms, but the basis of this one's going to be nightmares. Me and John are discussing doing like different series, if you will. One of them will be on movies, of course, where we'll do like the horror movies and stuff. One of them on nightmares, and then different things like haunted locations, equipment, all that stuff. You know, interviews with paranormal investigators. So before we get this one started, I'm going to show you. I'm going to play it now. This is how you will know that the episode you were about to hear is about nightmares. I am a huge fan of Doctor Who, and one of the he did an episode, they did an episode, and in it the doctor was talking about a couple of things. It's my favorite episode, and I clipped together two scenes that deal with the subject, and this is how you're going to know that that's what you're about to hear. Let's go ahead and play this real quick. I'll mute our mics.
Listen. Question. Why do we talk out loud when we know we're alone? Conjecture. Because we know we're not. Evolution perfects survival skills. There are perfect hunters. There is perfect defense. Question. Why is there no such thing as perfect hiding? Answer. How would you know? Logically, if evolution were to perfect a creature whose primary skill were to hide from view, how could you know it existed? It could be with us every second and we would never know. How would you detect it? Even sense it? Except in those moments when for no clear reason you choose to speak aloud. What would such a creature want? What would it do? Well, what would you do?
Said yes.
Yes, you know sometimes when you talk to yourself, what if you're not?
Not what?
What if it's not you you're talking to? Proposition. What if no one is ever really alone? What if every single living being has a companion, a silent passenger, a shadow? What if the prickle on the back of your neck is the breath of something close behind you?
How long have you been traveling alone?
Perhaps I never have.
It looks like your handwriting.
Well, I couldn't have written it and forgotten, could I?
Have you met you? What's all this?
Dreams. Accounts of dreams by different people all through history. You see, I have a theory.
I bet you have. What theory?
I think everybody, at some point in their lives, has the exact same nightmare. You wake up You think you do. And there's someone in the dark, someone close. Or you think there might be. So you sit up and turn on the light. And the room looks different at night. It ticks and creaks and breathes. And you tell yourself there's nobody there. Nobody watching. Nobody listening. Nobody there at all. And you very nearly believe it. You really, really try. And then... There are accounts of that dream throughout human history, time and time again. The same dream. Now, there is a very obvious question I'm about to ask you. Do you know what it is?
Have you had that dream?
Exactly.
No, that was me asking you. Have you had that dream?
I asked first.
No, I did.
You really didn't.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yes. Everybody dreams about something under the bed.
Why?
So yeah, why? Why does everybody have that same dream? We all have nightmares, right? But there's, like I was telling you, John, there's been times where I have a friend named Guy Pelton and another friend named Zach, and we used to work at Whirlpool together. And we would often just talk about like random subjects, and we actually started a podcast that didn't go anywhere, entitled Philosophilogical Discussions, and it was just me and Guy talking about things like that. So I'm gonna this episode's mostly about, like I was telling you, the Backrooms. Now, you said you didn't know a lot about the Backrooms.
Right.
There's actually if you go on YouTube, there's video after video after video of the Backrooms. And you'll always see that it's titled, they always start off with the same thing, because this is technically a creepypasta, which is kind of like an urban legend. And it all starts off with this: if you're not careful and you no-clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the back rooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz, and approximately 700 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. So, the reason that this is in the subject of nightmares is the back rooms. Let's figure out when this creepypasta was first posted.
I seen a video about Backrooms in Disney or something, just like last night.
Yeah. So it says the Backrooms originated from a thread posted on the X board of 4chan on May the 12th, 2019. That sounds even too new, because I remember hearing about the Backrooms even further back than that, because I was at Whirlpool, and that was way before 2019.
Yeah, Backrooms are older than that, I believe.
That's weird, because everything's just saying 2019.
Is that Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Those can be edited and wrong. I could have swore I've heard of them before 2019.
Oh, here we go. The Backrooms 1998, that's from 2022 as well. It's saying the story comes from oh, there we go, 2019. That still says 2019. Either way, what gets me about it is, so the way that I first heard of and I'm sorry if you guys hear me messing with the wires. We're on a little bitty table here. The creepypastas started either way after 2000 and let's say 2010, because I moved back up here in 2010. I went to work at Whirlpool. So the way that I discovered them was, again, me, Guy, and Zach, we would sit around the lunch table and we would have these philosophical discussions on just random off-the-wall topics, from episodes of Doctor Who, like what we just listened to to episodes on Psi Factor, whatever it might be. We would get into deep philosophical discussions about sci-fi. So one day I just kind of brought up that, I was like, there's this, because I had it again. I said, there's this nightmare that I've been having since I was a child. And I'm now 42. The first time I had this dream, I was about 12 or 13 years old. And I was telling them the story of the dream because it's a reoccurring nightmare, and I've had this nightmare over and over and over and over again. And at the time, I was sitting at the table telling Guy about it, and Zach walked up and he goes, "Oh, you're talking about the Backrooms." And I remember I looked up at him and I said, "What?" And he said, "The Backrooms, the urban legend." I said, "What are you talking about?" So that's the first time I heard about the Backrooms as far as the urban legend goes. But as I was talking with them more and more about it, you would see their eyes light up and they realized that they've had the same dream. That's one of the reasons I wanted to open with that episode of Doctor Who, because it's a nightmare. And not only, and after I had the talk with them, my wife says she's had the dream, several other people. So what this nightmare was I was living in a home back in Jonesville, and and at night I dreamed again that I woke up and I went to go down the hallway, and at the end of this, at one end of the hallway was the living room, the other end was a back door to go outside. And then there was, of course, my sister's room was across from mine, my parents' room was down the hall on the right, the bathroom was there. And I was on my way back, and something made me, I realized it was daylight out in my dream, but of course, this is at night. So I walked to the back door, and I go to open it, and I stepped outside. And suddenly, I'm in a completely different home. But again, it was a home that I knew. I would go out that back door and into another home that I knew. I think this one was my grandmother's house. So I was walking around looking, I'm going, how did I get here? And then of course I'm walking around looking at things, and this time there's a hole in the wall. So I go to step out the hall, I go to step through that hole in the wall, and all around me, kind of like in the Backrooms legend, you heard about the wet carpet, the smell of wet carpet, the fluorescent lights. When I go in there, I remember it distinctly smelling like wet carpet, but all the walls are covered in that pink insulation. And I crawled through another hole, and this time I'm in the middle of the Church of God that I grew up in. But every time it's always something like that. It's always I'm going from one home that I lived in or whatever into another one. But what I always find interesting, no matter how old I get, no matter whatever, it always starts in that same house. I'm always in that same house. And then it branches off into different places. There's been times, Guy Pelton, one time I had it when I was working at Whirlpool, and I told him about it because in the dream I called him into it. I went, I've been telling Guy about this. I got to tell Guy. I wish Guy could see it. And Guy was there, and then the next day he said, "Man, I had that dream last night." So according to him, he was in, when I called him into that dream, I pulled him in. But there's been have you ever had a dream like that where?
Similar, but mine are always I'll open my eyes / wake up in my room, and I'll be looking around, but I can't move.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll look just like my room, and I'll realize, oh wait, I'm dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll start making myself blink to wake up, and eventually that works, and it takes a little bit to be able to move when I finally do wake up.
Yeah.
That's the extent of those. But I have had dreams where I dream I wake up.
Yeah, it's always interesting when those type of dreams happen. But the Backrooms one, Jennifer, she's had them. She had one the other night. But another thing it's interesting about them, I had it at Post Town once. where I went down to Post Town, and we were at the hotel, and I dreamed I was in that house, and then a little bit later, I was in Post Town. But it's always this fear of I can't get out. And that's why, like, a lot of people now are calling it liminal space horror. Let's look that up real quick, and I'll read you what the internet says about liminal spaces. But it's basically the same thing, where it doesn't make sense. The architecture doesn't make sense. So I kind of wonder how many people actually have that fear. Liminal spaces are the subject of an internet aesthetic portraying empty or abandoned places that appear eerie, forlorn, and often surreal. They're commonly places of transition or of nostalgic appeal, like in my dream where it's this house that I grew up in.
Your church.
The church that yes. So, but I find it odd that people are terrified of that. You know, it's one of those fears that's coming around.
In some of mine, I have seen odd entities in my room, like when I'm in that state, in that dream. And I don't know, because I've had them all throughout my life, too, those type of dreams.
Yeah.
And those ones are creepy. When you see something, those scare the crap out of me.
Demon, like, as I've gotten into the deliverance ministry, a lot of mine are demonic. You mean you were talking about that the other day, where, and I was telling you, it's like, well, demons can get into your dreams and they can cause you fears. That's one of the reasons a lot of preachers will tell people not to watch horror movies. It's nothing really bad about watching a horror movie. It's one of them dependent upon you as a person. A lot of people can get so scared that they get themselves worked up. Yep. I watched, me and my brother when we were younger, when it first came out, Final Destination.
Yeah.
We were at the movie theater watching it, and it was like the last showing of the day. And we walk out in the parking lot, it was empty. And like we were standing there like, I ain't going out there. You know, and it's that fear, it gets onto you and it lashes onto you. Fear is very powerful. It's one of them that's very hard to overcome, but we should on certain things. But I think fear is something God gives us to keep us away from getting ourselves hurt.
That fear does keep us safe sometimes.
But yeah, nightmares. But so yeah, like you're saying, nightmares. But wasn't that long ago I had one where there was this woman, in the dream she was a very attractive woman, but I'm fighting against her, like trying to keep her away from me, and she was trying to seduce me. And then she went to move to kiss me or something, I forget, but I pushed her off of me, and like I said something, I don't remember what I said in the dream, but it was something about to the effect of "be gone," and her mouth opened up and it was like full of fangs. And I had to fight her off before I could wake up. But I do believe that demons can use. When we get Brother Dan on for his episode, we'll have to bring that up with him, because it's definitely one of those that they use it because we're at a weakness when we're sleeping. You can't control your dreams.
That's why we get messed with most when we're sleeping, or laying down to go to sleep.
Yeah, a lot of times, like people will call us. I'm sure you've had this one where they wake up and they see the entity because they were just waking up. Dreams are nuts.
Now, I think also, like you said, if you talk about something before bed or watch a show or movie before bed, there's a higher probability of having a nightmare or a dream of that, what you watch.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always have to be that either. It
Right.
could be an influence from an outside force. So.
Yeah.
But that's something to keep in mind. I've had dreams of sports because I would just watch the game and.
Well, Doctor Who for me. Like I've had dreams where I'm in episodes. It's. I don't like when we go to play, like I was saying, Post Town. I've several times I've been, I don't know how many times I've been there. I always like it, guys. If you can't, check in with Daryl.
Yeah, Post Town's awesome.
It's an amazing place to go to. But several times I've gone there and I've dreamed of the place while I was there. I think didn't you go with us once to Post Town?
Nope, I've been there with my group at least a handful of times.
I've been there. Well, last time I went, so you weren't there for that one. So it'd been Tim, Amber. Anyway, we slept in the building, and I had a dream that an entity was standing over me, trying to get me to follow it. But again, I knew that was a dream, and I just said, "Go away." I think a lot of times we need to learn to say that we have, like me and you were talking before the show, we have that ability with spirits to tell them to go away, and they have to listen to us. It's a lot of people don't realize the authority that we have over the spiritual side of things like that. Like if we tell them to go, they have to go. But you need to know you have that ability. If you, or I should say,
a lot of them don't go that are evil because you don't know that you have that
authority. Yeah. It's one of those where it's like as a cop, if you go to a place, a cop says to leave, he has the authority to tell you to leave. It's just a simple fact.
Unless you want trespassing on you.
Yeah, if it's one of them where if it's your private property, yes, you have authority over it. But if a cop comes on you're anywhere, out in public, and he says you have to go, you got to go. It's not authority that he has. It's authority given to him by the state. It's one of them we need to, as a humans, we need to learn that. It was authority. Well, I'm not going into that all, but but the nightmares are one of my fascinations. I've always been fascinated with nightmares. The flying out of cars.
You ever have dreams where you realize you're dreaming, and then you can make things happen with, like, you have special powers? Like, I'll have telekinesis, I can fly, like, when I realize I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
Where you could jump off a building and just run. I tell you what, dreams are weird. Either way, even if it's not a nightmare. I remember one, this messed with me so bad. I'm talking I was 9 or 10 years old or something. I was young. Like real young. The reason I know is because my grandmother had just passed not long before. And I was going through puberty about that time. And I remember, like, in the dream, I'm talking with this lady, this very attractive lady, and she's like down the street, and I go to walk to go talk to her again, and when I get to her, she's a Barbie doll.
Oh, wow.
That messed with my mind so bad that, like, I still to this day.
So did you wake up, go buy a Barbie, and play with it?
No, I woke up and was like, what the heck is that? It bothered me so bad. I'm like, what? Why?
Wait, is that why you have that Barbie doll collection in there?
I do not have Barbie. Jennifer has a bunch of dolls, but they're not Barbie.
That's why you went and seen the movie.
I'm not going to see that.
The dreams are weird like that. Like,
yeah.
Something like that is hilarious. Like, to me, that's something you could poke fun at, like I just did.
Yeah,
but
it's
tornadoes.
Yeah, tornadoes, another one.
Who hasn't had a dream about a tornado?
Well, I told you this. I forgot to tell you that me and you were talking about this one too. When you were talking about the different nightmares, there was one where I was riding in the back of a pickup, and my dad hit. This just shows you how long ago that was. You can't do that anymore. And my dad hit a bump, and I flew out, and I just kept flying and flipping and flying and flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping in the air. Like, yeah,
that's almost like falling dream.
Yeah,
almost.
But only I'm just flying through the air, flipping and not stopping. Now there is one nightmare that I want to know more about, because it apparently meant something to my family. Because when I revealed it to my aunt, again, I was real young. Excuse me. In the dream, my dad drove off of a bridge, and me and my sister were trapped in this giant pit, concrete walls all around us, and the water was rising up. And I remember that drink because it terrified me so bad because there was no way out. We were trapped. And I was telling my aunt about it, and she goes, "Did you hear that, Susie?" Talking to my mom, and my mom just kind of like looked at her, and none of them told me anything. I have no idea where that came, like why that reaction. It just was so odd to me that nobody will talk about it. They never told you? Nobody will talk to me about it.
A pit that was filling with water.
Yeah,
I wonder if someone they knew passed in an instance like that.
possibly. I
You
know.
know how horrifying that would be? That water slowly rising up.
It could also maybe that it's also possible, but that's leftover mental because of I was in a boating accident when I was a kid. I don't know if that has anything to do with
What
it.
if it was influenced by a non-human?
Yeah, it's
Like
always
a
possible
pit?
too. Yeah, that's always possible too. It's just nightmares. It's one subject that I would like to get into. So I'm gonna throw this out to the people listening. If you know of anyone that deals with that, I mean, that would be something interesting to have
They
somebody
do say
who.
if you have dreams of like tornadoes, that your life's a whirlwind, basically.
Yeah.
Like you have a lot of stress going on in your life right then.
Well, the ones like breaking your teeth. Like I remember as a kid, like having dreams where I was looking in the mirror and pulling my teeth out. And they said that's a vanity thing, which gets me because I'm not vain at all.
I'm telling you right now, you're gonna have a dream of a Barbie doll tonight. You are. I'm telling you. Watch you do. You're gonna be like, John. You're gonna call me tomorrow.
But the vanity. I know the vanity one. Now the one where you're flying, they say that means you're going through a lot of good stuff. I've never experienced that. Like I don't remember like going through a lot of good things and then dreaming I'm Superman flying through the air.
Oh yeah, like I'll have a dream and I'll realize I'm dreaming, and like someone will confront me, and I'll be like, I can move things with my mind, and I'll just like make them fly away, and then I'll fly through the sky, and like I can move things. It's really fun.
Yeah, it is.
It reminds me of that Nightmare on Elm Street dream movie where they have superpowers in the dreams. Like the one kid was a wizard, but unfortunately, in the dream world, Freddy that's his domain.
Yeah.
So no matter what they do, he's more powerful than them in the dream world, anyways. So, but yeah, I seen that, and I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, oh my gosh, I have dreams like that all the time where I'm.
Well, speaking of Freddy, man, like this is one that I've had a lot of dreams of Freddy because I'm a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan.
Same. I don't have dreams of him, but I'm a huge fan.
But every time I've dreamed of him, he can't hurt me, and it makes him mad. It's always like the last time I dreamed of him was like right before me and my wife got married, before me and Jennifer got married. And he tried again, and in the dream he finally goes, "You know what? I quit."
I'm done.
And he sits down and we just start talking.
Hey, you got the bong?
So yeah, we were just sitting there just talking. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I remember he was knelt beside my bed, like and just kind of like chilling and talking.
He has a cold one in his hand. What's up?
He's like, "I quit. I'm not doing it anymore."
I had a debate with myself in my own mind the other day about Freddy and like Jason, Michael Myers. Like, who would I rather have hunting me?
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you the one I wouldn't want is Freddy.
Yeah.
Because literally he can get you anywhere in the world. You fall asleep, you're done.
Yeah. That was
Where-
I didn't like that one movie, was it Freddy's Dead? They limited him to Springfield.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the Freddy versus Jason thing, I was like, in the dream world, Jason wouldn't stand a chance.
Mm-mm.
And in the physical world, Freddy has more of a chance than Jason does in the dream world.
Yeah.
But Jason, obviously, he's big and strong. But anyways.
Yeah. So we got in about good almost 30 minutes. So before we exit out here, I wanted to mention this. I did talk with Joel. Hold on a second.
Oh, also, I have another kind of what would happen.
Yeah.
And this is a kind of a, people have dreams of them, but there are a lot of movies and shows about them. Zombies and vampires.
I love zombies.
What would happen if a zombie bit a vampire? Now, remember, the virus spreads through the blood, but a vampire's already dead.
You know they did an episode of Deadliest Warrior on that?
Yeah, oh yeah, the vampires won.
Yeah. Well, not really, though, because they said that the
It
virus
bit 'em.
mutated and...
But the normal zombie virus, when they bite a human, it goes through the blood and it kills them eventually with the fever. And then they turn into the undead, which a vampire's already an undead. So what would happen? Like, they don't have a heartbeat, so the virus wouldn't technically spread through the blood.
Now, in the first episode, we were asking about, we asked Joel about that, our closing song.
Yep.
One second, where is it at?
I love, like, comparisons, even superheroes. A non-paranormal superhero thing that me and my friend used to talk about at work was the most useless superpower. Like being able to transport halfway through a wall. Being able to go invisible only when someone wasn't looking at you.
Okay, I think he sent it to the group to the page for the podcast, and I'm sitting there looking on my own personal page. Everyday Voices of the Paranormal. If you don't like the page, guys, go like it. We
Yes,
update
please.
there quite frequently. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen.
And if we go off topic a little, sorry about that.
All right, here we go. He says, I left this place is about the Travis Walton abduction. The subtext is about beliefs being shaken by things that shift things that we think we've always known to be true.
Speaking of that, Travis Walton, that is one of the most real and convincing cases to me of abduction.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It
all
is,
of them, all of them. They at first, the lie detector tests were inconclusive, but then since then, they've all passed.
I think a lot of them, inconclusive, was because these guys were terrified. They didn't know what.
Nervous, scared. And it was right after it happened when they made them come in. So they're like, "Am I gonna go to jail?"
Mm-hmm. They didn't know. Yeah, they could have found him dead, and they would.
Oh, if they would have found him dead, those guys would have been charged.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee it.
What's interesting is that movie. I love that movie.
Yes,
but,
Fire in the Sky.
They told so much. Like they changed so much and left so much out.
They always do.
I would have loved to have seen the. If anybody knows how to get a hold of Travis, because I know he's still alive, I'd love to talk to him on our show. If he's, if he would be.
You guys are
willing
too
to.
small for me.
No, he's actually, from what I've heard, he's very laid back, kind of.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't even know if he still talks to people about it, though. That's.
In all honesty, I believe them.
Yeah, I do too.
I believe that they seen something. I believe he got taken or something to that effect. Now, my question is, what do you think the beings that took him from another planet or another dimension?
Well, that's where you get into really weird, because in the original story, Travis talks about getting taken to a military base.
I've heard of our government colluding with them, and they have a base on another planet. Our government does.
Yeah, Travis and the beings didn't look like aliens. Well, and that's another reason I'd love to have him on, because I've heard so many stories about his case.
And the more time has went by, the more he remembered.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when he first got back, he's like, "What? What happened?" Basically, according to the movie. Then, as time went by, more and more, he started to remember more.
I don't know why my phone is acting crazy.
What are you trying to look up?
I was trying to read something Joel sent me.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Well, it's on my personal.
Oh, yeah, I won't be able to look that up then.
Stupid phone. My phone does not like me sometimes.
And you know, to think of all the people that claim abduction that don't have the corroboration that Travis Walton did.
Yeah.
That probably truly did happen. Some of them. And they're all similar. Like, they all have a lot of the same things, descriptions. It's scary.
Now, one thing Joel did say I wanted to tell you about was Joel did say he knows that we were self-conscious about the fact that we're recording outside, which we're doing again today.
Yes.
We're going, because of what Joel said, we will be doing it a lot more often, but he said that it added to the ambiance of the show.
Thank you, Joe.
And he did say he wants to. He did say he'll come on sometime. He wants to talk about, where was it? John said that he's not familiar with a lot of cryptids. That's my favorite thing to read about, and what I seek out in podcasts. If you want to talk cryptids, I'm down for that.
The one I am familiar with, obviously, is like Bigfoot / Yeti / Sasquatch.
I reached out to my mom. Now this one's you guys are gonna laugh, but you got to realize I'm from Louisiana. I'm from the backwaters of Louisiana. I'm talking, you go down one road, you get off on another road, you find yourself down a little dirt road, you wind up in my hometown.
You eat crawfish?
Yeah.
It looks good.
I'm from a little small town called Jonesville. For those of you who don't know, my granddad was first cousins with Jimmy Swaggart and Jerry Lee Lewis. They grew up in the same family in the same town, Faraday, Louisiana. But where I was headed with that, very superstitious people down there. And I've asked my mom, and I hope that she'll say yes and come on, but she hasn't responded. She almost acts like my mic must have been like not hooked up properly.
I
was
heard
hearing
you
a
the whole
hissing.
time through here.
Did you hear like a hissing before?
No.
I did. But my mom said that when I was growing up, my mom, my grandma, my grandpa, everybody would tell me about the Jonesville Centaur. And if you look it up, you find nothing. Like, there's nobody's documented
Centaur, half human, half
horse. Man, half horse, yes. Now, of course, it has that silly backstory of that it was a man who loved his horses a little bit too much. So I'm hoping my mom will come on and talk about it, because it's still talked about down there, but you won't find any documentation on it. My dad will talk about it. My mom will talk about it. The local garbage men would swear they saw it while they were out doing trash in the morning. There's something, I'm not saying that it's true, but there's something about it. And I think that if I could get it on the show, we could have my family come on and talk about it. You know, somebody from Jonesville who might know more about it, come on and talk about it. I think that would be an interesting story here on the podcast. There is a lot of Bigfoot encounters down there, stuff like that. It's big, you know. So
did you ever see a episode about the Himalayas? I can't remember what show it was, but they went out there looking for the Yeti, which is basically like the snow Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And they actually caught some things, and they caught some fur that had been torn on a tree, and they had it scientifically tested, and it matched nothing in the database. No human, no animal, nothing.
Huh. Yeah,
it was very interesting.
So yeah, but I think that'll be a good one for today, guys. If you haven't already, go over and follow our Facebook pages. Look up my paranormal page is my paranormal team's page is Fostoria Paranormal Investigations. John's is Wayne Fostoria Genoa Paranormal Investigations. Give our pages a like. I also, for my deliverance ministry, I have a page, Rev Jamie McCaskill, Deliverance Minister. If you're only wanting to follow me for that, I ask you to use that, not my personal page. That's more for like family and also my ministry. If you're interested in my ministry, Sermons in the Park, you can find that as well. So thank you guys all, and may God, we'll see you all around. Are you ready to embark on a journey into the paranormal world of flavor? Join me and John as we uncover the mysteries of taste with our otherworldly sponsor, Coffee Brand Coffee. Coffee Brand Coffee serves those who've had enough of the illusions and seek the true essence of freshly roasted coffee. No gimmicks, just pure, hauntingly good brews. Did you know that their fulfillment and roasting facilities are right here in the United States? That's right. The magic happens right here on home soil. They have 12 bewitching coffee blends from all corners of the world, 12 new organic loose leaf teas, 3 heavenly hot cocoa flavors, my favorite. There's something that will awaken even the sleepiest spirits. And here's the secret to their unparalleled flavor. Every batch is hand roasted to order. That's right. There's no dusty shelves. There's no forgotten corners where, something might have fell back there. No. It goes straight from the roasters right to your doorstep, ensuring each cup is a potion of perfection. Remember, timing is crucial because you see, coffee, it loses its spirit in about 7 to 10 days after you roast it. But don't fear, because you see, Coffee Brand Coffee, it roasts daily, preserving every ounce of its enchanting essence. And don't just take our word for it, brothers and sisters. No. There are nearly 4,000 verified customer reviews. Go over there and look at them, because you'll see that the majority of them are perfect. 5 out of 5. That's right. Let the voices of our spectral patrons guide you to the sip of something that's extraordinary. From farm to cup, Coffee Brand Coffee, it's on a quest for excellence. You see, they seek out the finest and most sustainably sourced beans. They forge direct trade relationships with growers all across the globe. What this does is this ensures that not only unparalleled taste, but also a future where coffee, it thrives in harmony with the earth. So, dear listeners, if you're seeking to brew, a cup of coffee that just transcends the ordinary, I want you to visit Coffee Brand Coffee. Use our referral link that's at the bottom underneath this video or podcast, wherever you're at, and get yourself an otherworldly experience. And remember, their subscription purchases are already 10% off. That's right. But you see, because you support us, it shines through when you use our link. You can unearth the secrets of flavor with Coffee Brand Coffee. You can taste the paranormal, one cup at a time. Cheers to a world of bewitching blends. And if you don't want to use the link below, we have our own little code, EVP Pod. Go on over and give them a look, guys. And thank you always for your support.
Has it been since I left this place?